The morning started like any other Tuesday for Commander Jake Morrison. He was fixing a broken solar panel on the International Space Station when the first alien ship appeared. It was huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built. More ships followed, their dark shapes blocking out the stars. Jake grabbed his radio with shaking hands. "Ground control, we have a problem up here. A big problem." On Earth, Captain Lisa Davis was drinking her third cup of coffee in the Underground Command Center in Colorado. She had been working all night on defense plans that everyone hoped would never be needed. When Jake's message came through, she knew those plans were about to be tested. The alien ships were beautiful in a scary way. They looked like giant sea creatures made of metal and light. Earth satellites picked up strange energy readings from them. These weren't like the spaceships in movies. They were real, and they were here. Admiral Krell stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the blue and green planet below. He had done this 17 times before. 17 worlds had surrendered to the Zephyrian Empire without much of a fight. Earth would be number 18. "Send the usual message," he told his communications officer. "Tell them to surrender or we will destroy them." The message reached Earth in dozens of languages. The meaning was simple: give up now or die. Early leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Some wanted to surrender right away. Others wanted to fight. Captain Davis had a different idea. Dr. Alan Price had been working in secret for months. His job was to listen to radio signals from space. Most people thought he was looking for normal alien radio broadcasts. They were wrong. He had been tracking the Zephyrian fleet for half a year. "They think we're stupid," he told Captain Davis over a secure phone line. "Their messages aren't even properly encrypted. I can read everything they're saying to each other." What Dr. Price had learned was frightening. The Zephyrians had conquered world after world. They would arrive, demand surrender, and when the planet gave up, they would strip away all the valuable resources. Then they would leave the world broken and empty. But Earth was different. The Zephyrians had made a mistake. They thought humans were like all the other species they had conquered. They were wrong. Captain Davis walked into the main communication room. Dozens of screens showed alien ships hanging in space above Earth. Every news channel was showing the same terrifying images. People were panicking in the streets. "Open a channel to the alien fleet," she ordered. Her communications officer looked nervous. "Are we surrendering, Captain?" Davis smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "Not exactly." The response went out to Admiral Krell in clear, simple English. "We received your message. Here is our answer. Come and take it." Admiral Krell couldn't believe what he was hearing. No planet had ever refused to surrender. Not one in 17 conquests. He looked at his tactical display. Earth had nuclear weapons, but they were primitive. Their spaceships barely worked. Their military looked weak and divided. "How long will it take to conquer this world?" he asked his war chief. 2 days, maybe 3 if they hide in their cities," came the reply. Admiral Krell laughed. "Prepare the landing forces. We'll be done here by the weekend." What the Zephyrians didn't know was that Earth had been preparing. While they were traveling between star systems, humans had been working day and night. Captain Davis had been chosen to lead Earth's defense not because she was the strongest or the smartest, but because she understood something important about humans. Humans were different from other species. When most creatures faced a bigger, stronger enemy, they ran away or gave up. Humans did something else. They got angry, they got creative, and they fought back, even when they shouldn't win. Dr. Price had been sharing everything he learned about the aliens with secret military teams around the world. Earth's best scientists were studying Zephyrian technology from their radio intercepts. They couldn't build the same advanced weapons, but they could find weaknesses. Colonel Ben Parker was in charge of a hidden base on the far side of the moon. For 6 months, his people had been building something the aliens would never expect. They used mining equipment and construction robots to hollow out huge caves. Inside those caves, they built weapons. The weapons weren't as advanced as what the Zephyrians had, but they were hidden, and they were pointed at the space above Earth. "Are you ready up there, Parker?" Captain Davis asked over the secure radio. "We've been ready for months," Parker replied. "Let them come." Around the world, other secret preparations were finishing. Major Chris Williams was in New York, where his team had spent months digging tunnels under the city. They had enough food and weapons stored underground to fight for years if needed. Captain Amy Foster was doing the same thing under London. Teams in Moscow, Beijing, and dozens of other cities had been preparing for this day. If the aliens wanted to conquer Earth, they would have to fight for every street, every building, every room. The Zephyrians were making their biggest mistake. They thought Earth would fight like other worlds had fought. They expected the military to meet them in open battle, where superior technology would win quickly. They expected Earth's government to surrender when the fighting got too hard. They were wrong on both counts. Admiral Krell gave the order to begin the invasion. His ships moved into position above Earth's major cities. He expected the planet to surrender before his troops even landed. The humans had seemed so confident in their refusal, but that would change when they saw Zephyrian power up close. Down on Earth, Captain Davis watched the alien ships getting closer. Her hands were steady as she reached for the communication button that would send a signal to every hidden base, every secret weapon, every prepared defender around the world. "This is it, people," she said. "Let's show them what humans do when someone tries to take our home." The Zephyrians were about to learn their first lesson about humanity. When you corner something that evolved from hunters, it doesn't run away. It hunts back. Admiral Krell expected to see panic when his fleet appeared over Earth's cities. He expected to see military ships rising to meet his forces in desperate last stands. He expected frantic radio messages begging for mercy. Instead, he saw nothing. Earth looked completely defenseless. No ships launched from the surface. No space stations fired weapons. The radio channels were quiet. It was almost too easy. "Sir, this is strange," his tactical officer reported. "Our sensors show the planet has millions of people, but we're not detecting any organized military response." Admiral Krell smiled. "They're too scared to fight. Begin landing operations immediately." The first Zephyrian ships descended toward New York City. Their pilots expected to see crowds of humans running in terror. Instead, the city looked empty. Streets that should have been full of people were deserted. Buildings stood silent like giant tombstones. Major Chris Williams watched the alien ships through hidden cameras. He was 3 levels underground in a tunnel system that stretched for miles under the city. Around him, 500 soldiers waited for his signal. "Remember," he whispered into his radio. "Let them land first. Let them think they've won." The Zephyrian landing craft touched down in Central Park. Alien soldiers poured out, their weapons ready. They wore armor that could stop bullets and carried energy weapons that could melt steel. They were the best warriors in the galaxy. They were also walking into a trap. Captain Amy Foster was watching from London through her own hidden cameras. Like Major Williams, she was underground with hundreds of fighters. Similar scenes were playing out in Moscow, Tokyo, Berlin, and dozens of other cities around the world. The aliens had made their second mistake. They thought humans would fight, like other species they had conquered. They expected armies to meet armies in open battle. They didn't understand that humans had learned a different kind of warfare. The first surprise came when the Zephyrian soldiers reached Times Square. What looked like empty buildings suddenly erupted with gunfire. Windows that seemed dark revealed hidden snipers. Manholes in the street opened to reveal fighters with rocket launchers. The aliens' personal shields deflected most of the bullets, but the rockets were different. Major Williams had spent months preparing special ammunition. Some rockets carried simple explosives. Others carried something more clever. "Target their sensors first," he ordered over the radio. "Blind them before we hit them hard." Smoke and flash grenades exploded around the confused aliens. Their advanced sensors couldn't see through the simple smoke that humans had been using in warfare for centuries. While they stumbled around blind, human fighters appeared from sewers, basements, and rooftops. In London, Captain Foster was using different tactics. Her people had turned the subway system into a highway for moving fighters around the city. While aliens secured one area, humans would disappear underground and pop up somewhere else entirely. It's like fighting ghosts, one Zephyrian soldier reported to his commander. They appear, attack, and vanish before we can respond. The aliens had energy weapons that could destroy tanks, but they couldn't hit enemies they couldn't see. Their shields protected them from bullets, but not from falling buildings. Human engineers had spent months rigging explosive charges in strategic locations. Colonel Ben Parker was ready to spring the biggest surprise of all. From his hidden base on the moon, he could see the entire Zephyrian fleet hanging in space above Earth. The aliens thought they were safe up there, out of range of Earth's primitive weapons. They were wrong. "Activate the network," Parker ordered. Dr. Price had discovered something interesting about Zephyrian technology. Their ships used a specific frequency for their shield generators. He had spent months building a weapon that could exploit this weakness. Around the world, radio telescopes and satellite dishes had been secretly modified. Instead of listening to space, they could now broadcast into space. When they all transmitted on the same frequency at the same time, something unexpected happened. 3 Zephyrian cruisers suddenly lost power and began falling toward Earth. Their shields flickered and died. Their engines went silent. The ships, that had seemed invincible a moment before, were now just expensive rocks falling through the atmosphere. Admiral Krell watched in shock as his ships crashed into the ocean. How is this possible? Their technology is centuries behind ours. His science officer was studying the sensor readings. "Sir, they're using our own shield frequency against us. Somehow they figured out how to turn our defenses into weapons." On Earth, the battle was getting more intense. The aliens were regrouping and fighting back hard. Their energy weapons were devastating when they could target them properly. Entire city blocks were turned to ash in seconds, but humans had prepared for this too. Dr. Helen Ross was in a bunker under Washington, D.C., coordinating the global defense. She had studied every piece of intercepted alien communication for months. "They're running low on power," she announced over the secure channel. "Their weapons are powerful, but they can't maintain this rate of fire for long." This was information that Major Williams and the other field commanders had been waiting to hear. The aliens were like sprinters in a marathon. They were fast and strong, but they couldn't keep it up forever. "Switch to Phase 2, Williams ordered. "Time to make them chase us." Around the world, human fighters began a new strategy. Instead of trying to destroy the aliens quickly, they began to wear them down. Every time the aliens secured a building, humans would attack it from underground. Every time they set up a base, it would be sabotaged in the night. The Zephyrians found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't understand. There was no central command to capture, no capital city to conquer, no leader to defeat. Every human city fought independently. Destroying one command center just activated backup commanders. Sergeant Mike Johnson led a small team in Chicago. His job was simple but dangerous: capture alien equipment. While the main battle raged above ground, his people snuck into crashed alien ships and took everything they could carry. "Got their communication gear," he reported to Dr. Ross. "Looks like their version of a radio." Dr. Ross was excited. If they could figure out how alien communications worked, they might be able to listen to enemy plans in real time. Better yet, they might be able to interfere with alien orders. The battle for Earth was just beginning, but already the Zephyrians were learning that humans were not like other species they had conquered. Humans didn't just fight to survive, they fought to win, and they were very, very good at it. Admiral Krell stared at his tactical display in disbelief. In 3 days of fighting, he had lost more ships than in his last 5 conquests combined. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were winning. "Sir, we need reinforcements," his war chief reported. "The humans are using tactics we've never seen before." Krell slammed his fist on the control panel. "They're primitives. How can primitives defeat the Zephyrian fleet?" The answer was becoming clear to everyone except the admiral. Humans weren't fighting like primitives. They were fighting like humans. On Earth, Dr. Helen Ross was working around the clock in her underground bunker. The alien communication device that Sergeant Johnson had captured was spread across her workbench in hundreds of pieces. She had been studying it for 2 days straight. "I think I've got it," she announced to her team. "Their communication system uses quantum encryption, but the key changes follow a pattern. Professor Kate Adams, Earth's best code expert, leaned over the alien device. If we can predict the pattern, we can read their messages before they get them. This was exactly what they needed. For the first time since the invasion began, humans might be able to know what the aliens were planning before they did it. The breakthrough came at 3 in the morning. Dr. Ross successfully decoded a message from Admiral Krell to his ground commanders. The aliens were planning a massive attack on London at dawn. "Get me Captain Foster," Ross ordered. In London, Captain Foster received the warning with 30 minutes to spare. Instead of preparing her defenses, she did something the aliens would never expect. She evacuated her fighters from the areas the aliens planned to attack. When the Zephyrian forces arrived, they found empty tunnels and abandoned positions. They had wasted enormous amounts of energy and ammunition attacking nothing. Worse, while they were busy destroying empty buildings, Foster's people attacked their real target, the alien supply depot. Major Chris Williams was having similar success in New York. With advance warning of alien plans, his people could always be one step ahead. When the aliens expected resistance, they found none. When they thought an area was safe, humans would strike hard and fast. But the real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Nancy Green had been a test pilot before the invasion. Now she was flying one of Earth's converted fighter jets, trying to match alien ships in space combat. Earth's fighters were slower and less powerful, but they had one advantage the aliens didn't expect. Humans fought in groups. "Remember," Green told her squadron over the radio, "we don't try to match them one-on-one. 5 of us attack one of them." The Zephyrian pilots were skilled warriors, but they were trained for individual combat. When 5 human fighters swarmed a single alien ship, the pilot couldn't handle attacks coming from all directions at once. Green's squadron destroyed 3 alien fighters in their first engagement. The victory cost them 2 human ships, but it proved something important. Earth's fighters could win in space if they used the right tactics. Down on the surface, the ground war was changing too. Dr. Ross and her team had been reverse engineering, captured alien technology for weeks. They couldn't build energy weapons as powerful as the Zephyrian ones, but they could build something almost as good. "It's not pretty," Dr. Ross told Captain Davis over the secure channel, "but it works." The hybrid weapons combined human manufacturing with alien energy technology. They were crude and unreliable, but they could punch through Zephyrian armor. More importantly, Earth's factories could build them by the thousands. Sergeant Johnson's team had become experts at capturing alien equipment. They would wait for battles to end, then sneak onto the battlefield to collect weapons, armor, and communication devices. Everything they found went to Dr. Ross and her scientists. "The aliens are getting careless," Johnson reported. "They're leaving damaged equipment behind instead of destroying it." This was another sign that the Zephyrians were making mistakes. In their previous conquests, battles ended so quickly that security wasn't a problem. On Earth, battles lasted for days, and the aliens were learning bad habits. The war's turning point came when Johnson's team captured something special, an intact Zephyrian command unit. It looked like a metal briefcase, but it contained the communication codes for the entire alien fleet. Dr. Ross and Professor Adams worked for 18 hours straight to crack the device. When they finally succeeded, they had access to every message sent between Zephyrian ships. "We can read everything they're saying to each other," Adams announced with excitement. "But that's not the best part. We can also send fake messages." Captain Davis understood immediately. "We can make them fight shadows while we hit their real weaknesses." The plan was simple but brilliant. Using the captured codes, Earth's communication, teams began sending false orders to Zephyrian units. They would order alien ships to investigate empty areas of space, while human fighters attacked undefended targets. Admiral Krell began receiving reports that made no sense. His commanders were reporting human attacks in places where no humans should be. Other units were finding nothing in areas where intelligence said large human forces were hiding. "Sir, I think the humans have broken our communication codes," his tactical officer suggested. Krell refused to believe it. "Impossible. Our encryption is quantum-based. These primitives barely understand radio waves." But the evidence was mounting. Zephyrian forces were being led into ambushes while real human positions went undetected. Supply ships were being attacked because they followed routes that had been compromised. The humans seemed to know everything the aliens were planning. The situation got worse when Earth's factories began producing hybrid weapons in large numbers. Human soldiers who had been armed with primitive projectile weapons were now carrying energy rifles that could damage Zephyrian armor. Colonel Parker's lunar base had become a major production center. Using alien technology salvaged from crashed ships, his people were building weapons that combined the best of both technologies. "These new rifles are game changers," Parker reported to Captain Davis. "Our people can finally fight the aliens on equal terms." The psychological effect was huge. For weeks, human fighters had been brave but outgunned. Now they had weapons that could hurt their enemies. Morale improved dramatically across all the human forces. Admiral Krell was facing a crisis. His invasion force, which should have conquered Earth in days, was now trapped in a grinding war of attrition. His ships were being destroyed faster than replacements could arrive. His ground forces were being worn down by enemies they couldn't catch. For the first time in his career, Krell was losing a war. The primitives of Earth had taught him a hard lesson. Advanced technology meant nothing if you didn't understand your enemy. The humans were about to teach him an even harder lesson. Emperor Zax of the Zephyrian Empire received Admiral Krell's report with growing anger. Never in the history of the Empire had a single world resisted for more than a week. Earth had been fighting for over a month. "Send the Grand Fleet," the Emperor ordered. "Crush these humans completely." The Grand Fleet was the Empire's ultimate weapon. 100 warships with enough firepower to destroy planets. It had never been defeated. It had never even been seriously challenged. Captain Rick Taylor was working in a hidden shipyard on the far side of Earth's moon. Using captured alien technology, human engineers had been building something the galaxy had never seen before. It wasn't as advanced as Zephyrian ships, but it was uniquely human. "The USS Defiance is ready for space trials," Taylor reported to Captain Davis. The Defiance looked nothing like alien ships. Where Zephyrian vessels were smooth and curved, the human ship was angular and practical. It combined human engineering with alien technology in ways that made alien scientists uncomfortable. Dr. Ross had been studying captured Zephyrian hyperspace drives for weeks. She couldn't build them from scratch, but she could modify them to work with human systems. "It's not pretty," she told Taylor, "but it should get you to other star systems and back." This was the key to Earth's new strategy. Instead of waiting for the aliens to attack, humans would take the fight to them. Intelligence from captured communications told them everything they needed to know. The Zephyrian Empire controlled 17 star systems, but their forces were spread thin. Most worlds had only small garrison forces. "We're going to do something they won't expect," Captain Davis announced to the War Council. "We're going to attack them." Admiral Susan Blake had been promoted to command Earth's growing space fleet. She was a former Navy officer who understood something important about warfare. The best defense was often a good offense. "The Grand Fleet will take 2 weeks to reach Earth," she told her commanders. "That gives us time to hit their supply bases and reinforcement depots." The plan was ambitious and dangerous. Earth's small fleet would split into groups and attack multiple Zephyrian positions simultaneously. If it worked, the Grand Fleet would arrive to find their support network in ruins. Captain Taylor took the Defiance to the Kepler system, where the Zephyrians had a major fuel depot. Lieutenant Green led a squadron of fighters to attack a communication relay in the Wolf system. Colonel Parker commanded a strike team targeting a repair facility near Proxima Centauri. The attacks began at exactly the same time across 3 star systems. The Zephyrian garrisons were completely unprepared for human raids. They had never faced enemies who would travel between stars to attack them. Taylor's assault on the fuel depot was brutally efficient. The Defiance appeared without warning, destroyed the orbital platforms, and vanished into hyperspace before reinforcements could arrive. The depot that had supplied Zephyrian fleets for decades was gone in less than an hour. Green's fighter squadron used different tactics. Instead of destroying the communication relay, they captured it. Earth scientists had learned to modify alien equipment for human use. The relay became a listening post that could monitor Zephyrian communications across multiple systems, but the most ambitious mission was Parker's. His team didn't just attack the repair facility. They landed on the planet's surface and began teaching the local population how to fight back. "These people have been slaves for 20 years, Parker reported to Earth. "They want to be free, but they need weapons and training." This was when the Zephyrian Empire realized the true scope of their problem. The humans weren't just defending their own world. They were spreading rebellion across the galaxy. Emperor Zax was furious when he received reports of human attacks. How can primitives from one world strike at multiple systems simultaneously? His military advisors had no good answers. According to all their intelligence, humans barely had space travel. Yet somehow they were conducting military operations across dozens of light years. The answer was simpler than the Zephyrians could believe. Humans learned fast, and they shared everything they learned. Every captured piece of alien technology was studied, copied, and improved. Every successful tactic was taught to other units. Dr. Ross had established what she called the technology exchange. Every human military unit sent their discoveries to her team. Within days, improvements would be distributed to fighters across the galaxy. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore," she told Captain Davis. "We're fighting for every world that wants to be free." The Grand Fleet arrived at Earth to find a very different situation than Emperor Zax had expected. Instead of a desperate last stand, they found a coordinated defense backed by intelligence from across the galaxy. Admiral Blake commanded the defense from a converted asteroid base. Around her, screens showed the positions of every Zephyrian ship in the fleet. Thanks to captured communication codes, she knew their battle plans before their own commanders did. "They're planning to hit our orbital platforms first," she announced to her staff. "Let's give them a surprise." The orbital platforms were empty. Earth's defenders had learned not to fight where the enemy expected them. When the Grand Fleet attacked the platforms, they found automated decoys that exploded with spectacular but harmless light shows. While the aliens wasted energy on fake targets, real human forces struck from unexpected directions. Ships emerged from hidden bases inside asteroids. Fighters launched from camouflaged positions on the moon's surface. Weapons platforms that looked like space debris suddenly activated. The battle lasted 3 days, but the outcome was never really in doubt. The Zephyrians were fighting the kind of battle they understood: fleet against fleet, technology against technology. The humans were fighting a different kind of war entirely. They used captured Zephyrian ships flown by human crews. They employed alien weapons modified with human improvements. They coordinated attacks using communication systems that combined both technologies. Most importantly, they fought as a unified force while their enemies were divided and confused by false orders. Admiral Krell's flagship was destroyed by Captain Taylor in the USS Defiance. The Grand Admiral died still not understanding how primitives had defeated the greatest fleet in Zephyrian history. When news of the Grand Fleet's destruction reached other star systems, the Zephyrian Empire began to collapse. Worlds that had been enslaved for decades rose in rebellion. They used weapons and tactics that humans had taught them. Captain Davis found herself in an unexpected position. Earth had become the center of a galactic revolution. Former slaves looked to humanity for leadership in building a new kind of civilization. "We didn't set out to conquer anyone," she told the First Galactic Council meeting. "We just wanted to stay free." The galaxy would never be the same. The Zephyrian Empire was gone, replaced by an alliance where worlds cooperated instead of conquering each other. Humans had taught the galaxy a lesson that would echo across the stars. No one had expected Earth to fight back. The universe was grateful they had been wrong.